llegó la hora y tiempo de que me vayan sacando. Adiós, mis amados padres, que conservaban mi vida. Ya se llegó la hora y tiempo, ya se llegó mi partida. La sepultura es mi cama, la tierra mi propio ser. Se me atemoriza el alma de considerar mi anhel. This kind of music is very religious, very Catholic. It has deep roots in medieval Spain, but we have to remember it's filtered through Mexico. There are alabados in Mexico. A friend of mine sent me a recording of women singing alabados in Durango, Mexico. They're brought up here along the Camino Real in the 1700s and 1800s, and these people and cultural attributes are mixing. So our penitentes are a brilliant microcosm of New Mexican Hispano culture that reflects Spain with its Jewish, Muslim, and Catholic heritage, but also Mexico and our Pueblo and then Genízaro Indian characteristics. Genízaros are the non-Pueblo Indians who were brought into servitude in the 1700s, and they're part of us as well. I'm going to sing some homegrown New Mexican music. This romancero tradition of songs about life, love, events, heroes from Spain. They're brought here, and out of that we get our inditas. That means little Indian girl. I don't know why they're called that. It might be because the little Indian girls were so cute. That's what I'd like to think, that the Hispanic people named these songs that for that reason. But also because it's music that is Spanish and native. And a lot of these songs, you can hear a drum in the back. They used to have drums or flutes playing along with the guitar, and then violins we'll see later on. This is about Manuel Maes. He is a buffalo hunter, a cibolero in the 1800s who dies on the hunt. Caballo ala santo estado, que tú la muerte me distes. Caballo ala santo estado, que tú la muerte me distes. Me vi de tan fatigado, desamparado y tan triste. Me vi de tan fatigado, desamparado y tan triste. Adiós todos los parajes que en el camino encontré. Adiós todos los parajes que en el camino encontré. Adiós Madre Donaciana y Padre Juan de Dios Mes. Adiós mis padres queridos, no me verán otra vez. Adiós mi novia querida, ay qué bonita te ves. Adiós mi novia querida, ay qué bonita te ves. Adiós hermanos y hermanas, no me verán otra vez. Adiós parientes queridos del finado Manuel Mes. That's Indita de Manuel Maes. He was a buffalo hunter. They would go out into the llanos, the plains, to hunt buffalo, and their horses were trained to ride along the huge beast, and they would lance the animal, and the horses were trained to move out of the way when the animal fell, so they wouldn't get killed, the hunter and the horse. Well, poor Manuel Maes, his horse did something wrong, And instead of stabbing the buffalo, he was impaled. And that's what the song is about. He dies, his blood is all over the horse. He says goodbye to his beautiful girlfriend, his wife to be, and it mentions his parents. They're real people. These songs have like 34 or 35 verses. Can you imagine that? If they were quarantined, they'd have a lot of music to sing to each other. So that's what they were doing. But I'm just giving you a little bit of that. I'd like to sing for you now another indita. This is a subcategory of indita called cautiva, captive woman. During the 1700s and 1800s, the Comanches were formidable warriors on horseback. They would raid Hispanic towns and pueblos and kill men and steal women and children and take them away. So would the Spanish. They would do it too. They would go out and kill Comanche and look for their women and children. If they found them, bring them back. Sometimes they'd have little babies that were half Indian, and that's how we get some of that blood in our bloodlines. But this is about a woman named Placida Romero. She lived out in Cubero, out in western New Mexico, and Apaches come and attack the town, and they kill her husband. And she talks about it, gives us the time and the date, and how she loses her husband. And in the choruses, it's very sad. She says goodbye to her daughters forever, and she actually lets the town have it for not being brave enough to protect them. It goes like this. It's from the woman's perspective. El día de San Lorenzo fue un día muy poderoso, que me llevaron cautiva y mataron a mi esposo. El año de 81, cerca de las 10 del día. Así sería, yo pienso, cuando esto no sucedía, que mataron a mi esposo y al hombre Jesús María. Adiós, ya me voy a padecer. Adiós, mis queridas hijas, cuando les volverá a ver. That's just part of Placida Romero. Again, those are from the woman's perspective. I tried changing the words so I could sing from a guy's perspective, but it just doesn't work. You have to hear that woman's voice. She goes on to talk about Cubero and Cebolla. Those are the little towns out there. And she says, what happened? Where was all the bravery? Where were you? My husband is dead. I'm never going to see them again. Well, actually, they were Apaches who took her down to Mexico. Can you imagine that? And eventually I don't know if they bring her back or she makes her way back. So it ends with the somewhat happy ending. She ends up back with her daughters in New Mexico and lived her life out. Placida Romero. Okay, I'm going to sing another type of religious hymn. These are called alabanzas. Alabados, alabar means to praise. And that first one I did was kind of sad. It's about death, the inevitability of it. But there were songs called alabanzas. These words are of Arabic origin. Alabar, alabanza. And this is a song about San Isidro Labrador. He's one of the great patron saints of New Mexico. And he's the patron of farmers. All of our ancestors had to farm to survive in this hard land. And these songs were sung by everybody, men, women, and children when they were harvesting, sembrando. They had to have a rhythm. All rural peoples around the world do this. They sing to make time pass and hopefully make the burden of labor a little easier. This is a San Isidro Labrador, and like the alabado, it's sung a cappella. Anybody out there know what a cappella means? Yeah, exactly. It means with no instruments, just the voice, okay? So this is San Isidro Labrador. San Isidro Labrador, patrón de los labradores, liberta nuestra sembrado de angustias y temblores. por el gran merecimiento con que te adora el Señor. Liberta nuestro sembrado, San Isidro Labrador. There's even a verse here I'm going to sing about thieves, asking the saint to protect the harvest, the food growing from thieves stealing the food. Del ladrón acostumbrado y sin temor al Señor, liberta nuestro sembrado, San Isidro Labrador. So that's an alabanza. So what do I want to do next? We were Spanish from 1598 to 1821. In 1821, Mexico gains her independence from Mexico, and New Mexico became part of Mexico, which we always were part of, even in the colonial period. We were not ruled directly from Spain. We were ruled from the viceregal capital of Mexico City. So during Mexico's Spanish colonial period, that was our Spanish colonial period. So we get our Spanishness from Mexico, called New Spain, Nueva España, during the colonial period. So it just makes sense that Mexican songs and forms are also our folk music. We hear them all the time. I'm going to sing a corrido. Just like New Mexico had inditas, Mexico developed corridos. These are ballads that grew out of the romancero tradition from Spain. And they talk about historical events, important people in history like Pancho Villa, or events like the Mexican Revolution of 1912. There's even a corrido about a gun. But I'm going to sing a corrido that my father, Roberto Martinez, wrote. I'm going to sing part of it. This is about a soldier from Los Lunas, New Mexico. He went to Vietnam and fought out there for the USA and was killed protecting some of his fellow soldiers. So my dad wrote this corrido in 1966, his first one, and it's an homenaje. It's a homage to Daniel Fernandez, but to all Hispanic New Mexicans who have fought for this country, their country, the United States. And it goes like this, El Corrido de Daniel Fernandez. Amigos, vengo a cantarles el corrido de un paisano. Se llamó Daniel Fernández, hijo nuevo mexicano. Este soldado valiente, valiente de nuestro estado, por el amor a su patria, la vida sacrificado. Su vida fue terminada, murió en batalla mortal. Ahora se encuentra con Dios en su reino celestial. Dijo este gran soldado cuando se vio malherido: Virgencita milagrosa, no más un favor te pido. Dame un momento de vida para rezarte un rosario. Después, madrecita mía, contento me voy contigo. Ya con esto me despido, paseándome en estos valles. Aquí se acaba el corrido del gran soldado Fernández. Corrido de Daniel Fernández. My dad did a lot of these songs. He did one about the courthouse raid in Tierra Maria in 1967. I want to sing a song now. These corridos are Mexican, but we're Mexican from 1821 to 1846. Then there's a little war between the US and Mexico, and they take us in and we become a territory and then a state in 1912. Well, guess what? All the music is starting to blend and come together, but there's a very strong Mexican flavor in places like Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California, Texas y California. And New Mexico was right at the center of that. I'm going to sing a song now for you that is the children's song, very popular. But it's interesting because in the late 60s and early 70s, it became a protest song during the civil rights movement and the Chicano movement that was going on in the Southwest. You can sing along with me. It's called De Colores. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajarillos que vienen de afuera. De colores es el arco iris que debemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Canta el gallo con el kirikiri, kiri, kiri, kiri. La gallina con el cara, 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 cara. Los cuihuelos con el pío, 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 pío. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. That is De Colores. I grew up hearing a lot of music in my family, as you can imagine. My dad was from Mora in northern New Mexico. My mom is from Las Vegas. So I heard a lot about penitentes and alabados, and my dad loved Pedro Infante. And so we were hearing music from northern New Mexico, from Mexico. My dad loved mariachi music. But we were also getting music from Cuba, Havana. And my older siblings, Doris, Maxine, and Lorenzo, they had a group called Los Chamacos. And in the late 60s, I was about 5 or 6 years old. They would sing in Spanish and English, rancheras, Mexican songs. They'd also sing the Beatles and Bob Dylan and the Rolling Stones. And they'd sing songs from Cuba. I'm going to sing part of one. It's one of my favorites. I hope you like it. It's called Cuando Calienta el Sol. Amor, estoy solo aquí en la playa y es el sol que me acompaña y me quema, y me quema, y me quema. Cuando calienta el sol aquí en la playa, siento tu cuerpo vibrar cerca de mí. Es tu palpitar, es tu cara, es tu pelo, son tus besos, me estremezco. Cuando calienta el sol aquí en la playa, siento tu cuerpo vibrar cerca de mí. Es tu palpitar, es tu cara, es tu pelo, son tus besos, me estremezco. Cuando calienta el sol, cuando calienta el sol. I always love that song. Well, I'm getting a little personal here because I'm going to start talking about my family. There's a lot of New Mexico music acts, a lot of mariachis. Al Hurricane came out of that 60s scene playing electric guitars. There were my dad's group, Los Reyes Alburquerque. Later on, my sister, Debbie La Chicanita, sang, and my brother played violin. Fantastic violin player. So we're all doing this. My mom sings like an angel, even now, and she's up there, but she's rocking it, let me tell you. But I'm going to sing a song now that I've always liked. I love it, really. My brother Lorenzo wrote this. He's a composer as well. And it's kind of like a corrido, but it's an homenaje, an homage. And he wrote it about our grandparents, our abuelos, my dad's parents in Mora, Massimiliano Martinez and Rosa Lovato. It's called Homenaje a mis abuelos. Lo que nunca se me voy a olvidar empezó en el Valle de Mora, la historia de dos enamorados llamados Rosita y Don Massimiano. Además nunca fueron ricos, pero sí de muy buen corazón. Y querían mucho a sus hijos, también a sus nietos, parientes y amigos. Buena mujer fue Rosita, madrecita cariñosa. Le rezaba cada noche a Dios pidiéndole cuidar a sus hijos. Massimiano fue igual, trabajó en el ferrocarril, sufrió fríos y trabajos, pero él nunca se supo rajar. Lo que nunca se me voy a olvidar empezó en el Valle de Mora, la historia de dos enamorados llamados Rosita y Don Massimiano. That's Homenaje a mis abuelos, written by my brother Lorenzo. What else do we have here? Oh, I know. In this modern era, we all, in New Mexico, we have a song that we sing. I'm going to serenade all of you out there. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to mention Jody. She's going to be taking a new journey, so I'm going to serenade her as well. She's producing this, and she rocks. This is Las Mañanitas. If you know it, sing it with me. This is a song we sing at every event when we get together, and we will again, God willing. It's for baptisms. It's for graduations, weddings, divorces, funerals. It's for everything. Las Mañanitas. I'll sing you a little bit of this, okay? Qué linda está la mañana en que vengo a saludarles. Venimos todos con gusto y placer a felicitarte. El día en que tú naciste, nacieron todas las flores. La pila del bautismo cantaron los ruiseñores. Ya viene amaneciendo, ya la luz el día nos dio. Levántate de mañana, miran que ya amaneció. There's a bit of Las Mañanitas, very popular in New Mexico. I think I'm going to sing one more, and then we're going to start the conversation, Ken.
Great. Yeah, I've got a couple of questions already in the hopper for you, so I don't want to interrupt the flow. You go for it.
All right. Well, I'm going to sing a song. It's one of my favorites. I've sung it before with my dad's group, Los Reyes, when I was in the group many years ago. It's called El Rey, the King. And it's about a guy who, well, he's kind of a king. You'll see. He kind of lives his life in his own way. And I think he thinks he's a king. And that's how he lives his life and gets away with things. It's called El Rey. Yo soy bien que estoy afuera, pero el día que no me muera, sé que tendrás que llorar, llorar y llorar, llorar y llorar. Dirás que no me quisiste, pero vas a estar muy triste y así te vas a quedar. Con dinero, sin dinero, hago siempre lo que quiero y mi palabra es la ley. No tengo trono ni reina, ni nadie que me mantenga, pero sigo siendo el rey. Un arriero en el camino me enseñó que mi destino era rodar y rodar, rodar y rodar, rodar y rodar. Después me dijo un arriero que no hay que llegar primero, pero hay que saber llegar. Con dinero, sin dinero, hago siempre lo que quiero y mi palabra es la ley. No tengo trono ni reina, ni nadie que me comprenda, pero sigo siendo el rey. Ay, ay. There you go, el rey, the king.
Wow. I'm going to unmute so you can hear at least me applauding. Thank you, Rob. That is such an amazing program. It's so great to learn so much about this diverse cultural history. We have one question from Michelle on YouTube, and she asks, Rob, did your familia sing songs from Los Panchos?
Los Panchos, yeah, my dad did. My dad scripted. My dad, God bless my dad, he was a determined guy. He was gonna be Pedro Infante when he grew up, and in a lot of ways he succeeded at that. So he grew up hearing all that music. So more my dad did. So the short answer is yes, I didn't. But you know, the Reyes were not a big mariachi group. It was like a 5-piece group, and it had my dad, Roberto Martinez, Miguel Archiveque, was a great singer. They would harmonize a lot, and they would do songs by Los Panchos, and so they did that. Yes, wonderful music, fantastic.
Question two, this whole history of music and New Mexico history seems so integrated. I just wonder, did the music come first in your development?
Oh yeah. In my family, you had to sing when we were little kids, me and my sister Debbie. Everyone had to learn Los Laureles, the song that Linda Ronstadt made famous, but it was already famous. And we all had to learn that song when we were little kids, and sing it to relatives when they would visit. The music's always been there. It's in our family. It's in our DNA, you could say, I think. But the history comes later when I start asking questions. I was about 15 years old, and I started asking questions like, well, where are we from? Well, I knew we were from Mora. I thought we were from Mora for like 1,000 years or something. Turns out we're just there for one generation. And you know, those questions, are we Spanish? Are we Mexican? What are we? Well, we're all of that. We're an amazing mix of everything I've been talking about for the last 30 minutes or so. It's all part of our history. Same with being American. Believe me, I grew up, my sisters and brothers, they didn't just sing Mexican and New Mexican and Cuban songs. They do all the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. I've been for a walk on a winter's day. So I was hearing Mamas and the Papas, Simon and the Uncle. That's part of our cultural heritage too. That's our history, our family history, and our New Mexican history.
Yeah. I have another question from Michelle. Can you also talk a little bit about the La Cucaracha corrido?
No. La Cucaracha corrida. There's millions of corridos out there that I cannot talk about because I don't know about them. I mean, all I can tell you about something like La Cucaracha is that anything was fair game to be sung about and written about. and immortalized in a corrido. Like I said, there's a Carabina 3030. These are songs about guns, okay? So it's not just about people and events. It's about anything. It could be about anything you want. I think there's even a corrido about a tortilla. So anything. That's
Yeah.
about all I can say about that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and Darla Espinosa asks, how about Papo's song about rocks in the beans?
Oh, I know, Darla. That's my niece. Hello, Darla. Hello, Doris. They're my people, my gente. Orale.
Oh, I see.
Um, who put the rocks in the beans, senor? I don't know that song. I remember it. That was kind of a funny little song my dad would sing. My dad grew up speaking Spanish, like most people in northern New Mexico who grew up in the Depression era. So, that generation still spoke Spanish. We grew up speaking English at home and then learned Spanish later. I know Spanish, but I learned it later on in life. But my dad had an accent, which was, I love accents. An accent just says that you know two languages, more than one language.
Yeah, yeah.
And my dad used to sing a song called, Who put the rocks in the beans, senor? Who put the rocks in the beans, senor? If I ever find out, he won't do it no more. So who put the rocks in the beans? We had funny little songs like that. My good friend Lara Manzanares, I always get a smile on my face because she does a song we used to sing. I don't remember it anymore, but she knows it fantastic. We all grew up doing this, frijolitos pintos. It's a song about beans. I'm telling you, we sing about anything and everything, Frijolitos pintos, clavares morados, ay, como sufren los enamorados. These are great songs from our youth that go back generations.
Here's another question. How do you feel about modern corridos?
How do I feel about them? I love them. We need them. I mean, I'm a historian and I'm a musician. I'm a folk musician. I'm a singer-songwriter. I love doing stuff. I'm getting older though, I used to be the young guy in the band. Now when I play with people, they're the young people and I'm the older guy. But I want this music to continue. I don't want it to just be a museum piece, and it isn't, and it never has been. It's always been a music that has evolved. Our music tradition is not written down. It's an oral tradition. It's handed down from generation to generation, and even songs like Manuel Maes that I sang earlier, they vary in melody and lyrics from town to town. In Mora, they're one thing, and if you go to Chimayo or Santa Cruz, there's a little bit different, there's differences. So it's always growing. It's very organic. And I want there to be new corridos. I don't know if what they're referring to or some of the narco music, but that's also part of what's going on now.
Right.
Love it or hate it, it's reality. And I'm into reality. And I want music that reflects what's going on the border and in our country and in Mexico, because we're connected. We're connected, like it or not. We're relatives. We're cousins. And so I'm all for the music changing. I want these young people like Lara and Lone Pinon. I get a warmth in my heart that they are playing the music, the New Mexican music, and singing and writing corridos.
Yeah, I was going to follow up. I was going to pivot to a little bit of your work as a historian and how that relates to the music, but we had a follow-up question when you were talking about narco music. What is it? What is narco music? How do you do?
It's like rap. It's a musical form that's evolved out of real events that are historical because they're happening now, and it's the music of the streets. It's music that reflects the good, the bad, the ugly, the sordidness of certain aspects of what's going on in society right now. And it's, I think, as a historian, it's important. I think in 100 years or 200 years, people will study hip hop and rap and narco music to say, well, what was going on here? What was happening in this segment of society? And it's important.
I was just thinking it must have been interesting in your journey as a historian to be introduced so early to such popular forms of music. And then I know as you became more interested in New Mexican state history, delving into the church and its more mystical traditions and learning about the music of the chants of the penitentes. It must have been interesting to sort of dive into, I don't want to say the occult, but much more mystical traditions and
or witchcraft, brujeria.
witchcraft.
We have a lot of that in New Mexico, and the mysticism is there. I mean, I studied Spanish mysticism at UNM, and I took a class, fantastic. Roberto Yul, San Juan de la Cruz, Santa Teresa de Avila. I'm thinking of all the mystics down the years. Ramon Yul, that's it, not Roberto, Ramon Yul. These are great Spanish traditions, and we're an extension of that, and so is Mexico and Peru and Cuba and Puerto Rico. We're part of a bigger system, and that mysticism is part of our heritage. Our ancestors who came here from Spain and Mexico were not educated at Salamanca or the great universities of Mexico City. They were immigrants. They were people who came with their dichos, their sayings and their cuentos, their stories and their canciones, their songs and their beliefs. They're more the more mystical side of Spain's Catholicism. And then the superstitious beliefs of brujeria and hechiceria, it all mixes, especially in the late 1700s and early 1800s. That's when New Mexico Hispanic culture really gels and comes into its own. As you can imagine, these folks were part Puebloan, part Spanish in their worldview. So everything was filled with spirit. And you could encounter an angel on a mountain, or a witch, a bruja, or a brujo. Let's give the men, make them witches too, brujos. And it was just kind of the worldview, and it gets passed down. We used to go to Mora and Las Vegas, and we were told about brujas and brujos and hechiceros, and it's definitely part of our cultural psyche.
Yeah. I feel like this is a good time to put in a plug for your multi-part series on YouTube of 10-minute lessons in New Mexican history, which I've been enjoying and which I'm going to recommend to whoever is listening out there. I'm learning a lot about it.
I'm on YouTube, Rob Martinez, and I'm on Facebook. You can look or friend me, Rob Martinez. I also have a music page, Rob Martinez Music. And when this happened, when we all had to start teleworking, I was like, well, what am I going to do? I'm used to giving presentations to people and talking to people in my office or at the New Mexico State Record Center and Archives where I work. And now I'm in my little office right here. And I said, well, I'm going to just start putting it out there. I'm going to start doing 10 minutes because people are busy, you know, they're working from home. They're taking care of the kids. They're doing the washing and the cooking. And I thought, let's do 10 minutes at a time. And it seems to be going okay. I try to get one out every Monday and Thursday, and 10 minutes, if that's all you got, I'll try to get you some New Mexico history. Right now, tomorrow's episode, I start talking about Francisco Vázquez de Coronado and his expedition from 1540. And I talk about the Spanish naming traditions.
We have another question. Before you leave us this evening, would you take a request or play a favorite song?
I will if I know it.
Okay. I'm going to, so I guess we're tossing that one back to the requester. What would you like to request? I've already heard your version of Raspberry Beret today, so that's way outside of our.
So do we know the song?
We're still waiting for an answer or play. Let's see.
Well, while we wait for an answer, let me just say something about music. It's Hispanic music, but it's American music. some of the most famous music made in the world was the first rock and roll. A guy from Lubbock used to come with his band to Clovis, New Mexico to record with Norm Petty. It was Buddy Holly. And he recorded most of his hits. Think about that. It's the mid-50s. He's recording out in the Llano, the plains out there in Clovis. And he's recording in the only big studio between Los Angeles and New York is in Clovis, New Mexico. So he recorded this song. It's a big hit. It went like this. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Ah, that'll be the day when you make me cry. Ah, you say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. Ah, you gave me all your loving and all your turtle doving and all your hugs and kisses and your money too. You say you love me, baby, and then you tell me maybe, well, that someday, well, I'll be blue. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Ah, that'll be the day when you make me cry. Ah, you say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die.
Awesome.
I mean, that song was being taken all over the world. And there were guys in Liverpool who got the little single, recorded in Clovis, and it was John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison.
Yeah.
They learned this. They recorded the first recording they ever made was at Paul McCartney's dad's house. He had a little reel-to-reel recorder, just the three of them with their guitars, with John Lennon singing lead. And that's it. That's the start of the Beatles. I like to think New Mexico had a hand in inventing the Beatles. Okay?
The Beatles, yeah. Well, isn't there used to be a rock and roll museum there that Norm and Vi Petty, is it still there?
You can still go there and see the studio and everything, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the requested song is Guantanamera.
Oh. Okay, I haven't done that one in a long time. Okay. Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera. Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Yo soy un hombre sincero, de donde crece la palma. Antes de morir me quiero echar mis versos del alma. Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera, Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera. Guantanamera, another Cuban song, The Girl from Guantanamo. I can't hear you.
Hola, Robert, desde Barcelona.
Ah, Luis.
Hola.
Oh, Luis Lorenzo, ¿cómo estás, señor?
Pues todo lo bien que se puede estar, todo lo bien que se puede estar, sí.
¿Cómo va todo en Barcelona?
So-so.
Así, así.
So-so. Ugly numbers,
yeah.
and we are secluded, so, well, locked in.
Well, you look good.
Well, not bad, 2 a.m. now, so.
Be well and be safe. Saludable, señor.
Yeah, I need to go back. I need to go.
You will. Aquí estamos esperando.
Norteño in the spirit.
Claro que sí. Norteño. Well, heck, is there anything else, Ken? What else do we got going? Ken, I can't hear you. I can hear Luis.
There we go. Am I unmuted now? There I am.
Now you are.
Okay. There was another host that was higher than my host.
Uh-oh.
So
Catholic.
yeah, it does. The heavenly host higher than my host. This was fantastic. I think we started a little bit late, but I think we're going to try to end roughly on time. I'm sure that there's others who would like you to play through the evening. Me being one of them, but I think since this is our first venture, we're going to try to stay within our time parameters here. And I'm just going to thank you again, Rob, for giving us a delightful education in some of the cultural history and the music and your own history and rock and roll history and Clovis and everything.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Thank you for having me. Why don't we do this? I'm going to just play a song and you just turn us off when you want to, okay? This is a modern song by Juanes. He's Colombiano, okay?
Great.
Thank you all very much for joining me. Hasta pronto. Cada vez que me levanto y veo que a mi lado estás, me siento renovado, me siento aniquilado, aniquilado si tú no estás. Tú controlas toda mi felicidad y todo lo que está de más. Tus ojos me llevan lentamente al sol y tu boca me habla del amor y del corazón. Tu piel tiene el color de un rojo atardecer y es por ti que late mi corazón. Es por ti que brillan mis ojos hoy. Es por ti que he vuelto a hablar de amor. Es por ti que calma mi dolor.
Thank you again, Rob.
Bye-bye.
We're going to sign off. For the New Mexico Humanities Council, I'm Ken Watt, and thanks again to Rob.
Adios, Luis. Hasta pronto.
We'll see you with another program next Wednesday.